Hey, so today I want to share with you my personal rituals for success. Yes, the things that I do, the habits, the routine, the rituals I create every day to live an abundant, happy, and purposeful life, to fulfill my purpose. And keep in mind now, these things I do, they've led to great things such as me consistently winning the lottery, creating multiple businesses, teaching, helping, and spreading conscious awareness. So these are things that you can use in your life as well. So I'm just going to give you my daily rituals, how I see the things, how I see reality, and how I interpret it. And if it resonates with you, go for it, because it can help change your life. And it should, because we're all the same. All right, so let's begin. So the first thing that I always do is I have a very, very open mind. So in other words, I really spread my mind to express and learn as many new projects or opportunities as possible. Basically mean I'm always searching and upbuilding my mind for empowering information. That's the one thing. So I always surround myself and I'm always looking for things that is moving me towards what I want, positive stuff pertaining to my purpose. That's what you should do as well. So I do that a lot. Then the next thing I start to do now, I start to change my reality, the way I look at life. So I don't look at life the way a lot of people look at life. I create life as a game. I look at life in terms of energy. Energy is what I look at life as. So when I see people and I see things and I see my car, I see my home, I see all these things, the traffic, the street, the grocery store, everything I see, of course, I'm conceptually, it looks real, but innately I've developed it as a map. So I superimpose a map of energy onto everything. I do that for two important reasons. Number one, when I start to look at things as they are and not put judgment or towards it, then that frees up my ego from getting in the picture. That's number one. Number two, I am connecting to a higher source of consciousness. I am connecting into the pure universal aspect of creation, because in essence, that's the true nature of reality. It exists in densities of these energy, subatomic world, and quantum physics, and particles, etc., etc. So that's what I do. And that supercharges my brain and my mind now to filter in new information. So I do that every day. So when I walk around and I look at things, I kind of just see a vibration of them and I feel it. That's what I do. Now, before I go to sleep, I always spend about 5 to 10 minutes thinking or meditating on the things I'd like to see accomplished. So I look at things in N format. And then when I go to bed, I use my subliminals. I create subliminals. So I use some powerful subliminals that I create myself. I put my voice in it, or some of them I mask them as well. So I do a plethora of things, and that supercharges my mind as well, and it continuously influences my subconscious mind. All right. Now, prior to that, though, I always have a conversation with my higher self. I speak to my higher self every single night. I'll say things in a natural form of what I want to accomplish. I'll say, hey, how about this? Hey, let's do that. Hey, remind me of this. Hey, create the next opportunity for this. I constantly speak to this higher awareness, and it speaks back to me in the form of I get the answers in my dreams, in my feelings, through people, through synchronicities. So I developed this bond. So that's how I'm able to navigate, and I attribute that to a lot of, the wins in the lottery I do, because it always leads me and guides me to be in the perfect place at the perfect time, or it always gives me the images or even the numbers in my mind, and etc. So I do that. Now, once I get up in the morning, first thing I do is I just don't jump out of bed. I actually lay there and I kind of zone out for about 5 to 10 more minutes. So I may look up at my ceiling and just daydream, just let my mind zone out, because when I wake up, I'm still in that theta state. So I'm still in kind of that meditative, relaxive state. So I just look up and then I start to think of gratitude and be grateful for things I have. Because I know the power of gratitude, what it actually does, it actually increases the dopamine, actually opens the filters, and it creates more neuroplasticity or synaptic pruning. Basically, now my mind will start to look for those things that represent the way I feel. So I always practice that. So once I do that, then I start my day off with a light meal. I don't have a heavy breakfast meal, maybe something light. Maybe some fruit or some cereal, oatmeal, or something of that sort. Nothing with too much sugar in it. That's how I start my day. And I always drink, first thing in the morning before I do anything, I drink some water. Because water basically detoxes and cleanses the night before from all the toxins that your body is replacing or expelling while the body recovers while you sleep. So the water always does that. And then I get to start my day. Now I use crystals. So I wear crystals. I wear different crystals, some maybe amethyst, maybe the moldavite. Depends on the day and what I feel, but I always have crystals because crystals charge and they bring more power to manifest. So I have a bracelet or I have a necklace. So that's something I always do. Now throughout my day now, whatever I am doing or whatever I'm focusing on, I'm always thinking about what's the best that could happen in this situation. So I'm always looking for the best outcome in everything. I don't allow my mind to try to figure out what's wrong or why it didn't work. The minute I notice that, I cut it off. That's the biggest thing I do. Always cut off my ego. Then I always spend some time in nature. Maybe I go to the park or the beach or even in the backyard. But it's important to be in nature, to see nature, because I believe that gives a powerful boost to your manifestation or to help you. And then what I do is I just rinse and repeat that cycle. Rinse and repeat that cycle. Now, if it comes to something in particular that I desire or I want it, then I'll create a visual movie. The visual movie is basically me now. I basically take the things that I desire and I put them in my mind's eye and I see them over and over again and I project them. And then I do something interesting with that too. So once I create that movie in my mind, because now I've trained my mind, right, to see reality sort of like a backdrop of energy and innately. So now it becomes easy for me now to superimpose my mind movie into my current reality. So wherever I'm walking or if I'm doing whatever, I'm actually living my, as you would say, wish fulfilled right now, because I'm superimposing that into my everyday reality. I find that to be very, very powerful, because it actually can say it tricks the mind and it convinces the mind more that this is something that's actually happening now. And I find that tremendously speeds up my manifestation to create reality. And there's science behind how that works, I mean, the mind, and I'm sure you guys know by now that a lot of the things we see are basically illusions or images, or these patterns of these different forms of energy, and the way they move and they vibrate. Some vibrate very fast, some vibrate very slow. The faster they vibrate, the more they look solid. The slower they vibrate, they look invisible or transparent. That's basically what all reality is. So once I kind of tune into that waveform, then whatever in my mind's eye can become my current reality. And then I superimpose that, and that forces and actually accelerates my subconscious to match it. Because if you don't know by now, you need to know this, that your subconscious, it's basically the brain and everything that coordinates with that, your thoughts must become congruent with your reality. So my subconscious must become congruent with my dominant vibration. And that accelerates the process of manifestation. So those are basically my rituals. It's just a broad aspect, but there's of course deeper details that I can get into, but I don't have time. But I think those are good start points. But the most important part of all this is I just wanted to lead you a few important components of this. Notice what I do, my mind is always on the positive. My mind is always on what I want, and I change my perception of my current reality. And that's very important. Also, I establish a connection with my authentic self, because that's very important. That's where the source and the knowledge and understand coming from. And also, I utilizes the tools of the universe, crystals, things like that, because they are there to help. So with all those components put together, I create this unique ritual for success. And now you can start to implement it and test it in your life and see great results, just as I have.